Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. You are spending time with Lord Dial and Patrick Durkin. As most of you know that know me, I promote mind, body, and soul. And in any way, in every way possible, I want to help you. I want to help you mentally, physically, and spiritually. Today, we're going to tackle health in ways that you probably be surprised because it's something that we all have to have. We definitely need because we couldn't live without it. And my friend Patrick has brought in this product. And no, I'm not really here to sell you. I'm here to help you. But in saying that, I say product because we need this in order to help ourselves, help our body and our mind, even our souls. I'm going to say a little bit more, but before I do, I'm going to bring Patrick on in and he'll introduce himself. And then we will be talking back and forth. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Feel free to contact him. Patrick will give his phone number. And if you look in the description, I do have a link, and it's in there 3 times. You can click on that, and that will take you into the website. So once again, welcome, and thank you so much for being here. And thank you for caring about yourself, for wanting to be better and to get better.
Lord Dial, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for putting your soul and your body on display for humanity as you learn and we talk together and we figure out how to evolve and just feel well. It's great to be discussing these topics with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
My honor. Thanks. So Patrick, just let the audience know a little about you before we get into what we're going to talk about.
All right, well, I was, kind of cruising along, living the American dream, which I thought was make money and compete. And, so I made $1 million in a year, and I bought myself a Porsche with my initials on the license plate for my 35th birthday. And I thought that was all good, but my health was horrible. I was like, what is going on in here? And I just kept discovering. I wanted to know. I didn't want to follow my doctor's advice and take a pharmaceutical every day for the rest of my life. It just didn't make sense. So I began investigating, like, how does this thing work? Like, what would I do to live congruently with the way a body works, with whatever it is I am? Let me discover that and live authentically. And so I stopped taking the pharmaceutical after a couple of months, and I discovered a way to heal. And it took 7 years. I had irritable bowel syndrome. I had a year of my life where I couldn't eat anything other than rice and avocado. It was like all I could digest. It was a very boring year. And 15 years later, I've been healthy for 6 or 7 years. I'm vibrant. I walked an hour this morning. I bounced on a trampoline. I split wood. The joint pain is a memory. Being able to participate in life is just amazing. And along the way, I had to have some major changes. I got divorced. I had a career change, and I learned to listen to life. And what life was telling me was like, dude, you got to learn about water. And so I just kept listening to that. And I had this dream just come forth in my heart that we would have an alternative that was so much better than plastic bottles and whatever it was. When I discovered it and learned how to talk about it, that people who drank water in plastic bottles would just stop as soon as they heard this new story, whatever it was. I had to figure it out. And I would share that with them. They would have new action, and we would get rid of the entire industry that distributes water in plastic bottles. So that dream was my invitation, my passion to pull me forth to learn, and to be able to, when somebody asks me a question about water, be able to say, well, I've thought about that, and here are the conclusions I've come to. Maybe they'll make a difference for you. So that's what I do now full time. I consider it a privilege, and I just keep listening every day. What am I supposed to do next, and how can I be of the most service with my life and in the water industry.
Well, you know, Patrick, it's interesting that you bring up the water, because as a child, I always, you know, drank water. My mother believed in it, water. And we would go to the spring, and then from the spring, it would be filtered water. And nowadays, like you said, the plastic bottle and the chemicals that are in the air and even in the ocean and the seas, they really, really have water, not the way it was, you know, hundreds of years ago. Now, if you drink the water, it can really make you sick. And we found that with many, take instant Flint, you know, Michigan. And even on the news today, they mentioned good water. What is good water? And this is where I come to find that you know, have good water. And I am a registered nurse, and I'm also in my 60s. And I find many people saying, well, how is your skin so clear? It's not wrinkled, you know, it's not dry. I drink water, and I'm very, very cautious about the water that I drink. Even though it may say filtered, it may not be filtered the correct way. They have also found that some water is regular water, and they'll put filtered on it, and it hasn't been filtered at all, and it still has a lot of chemicals in it. And this is where I find that your water comes in, because I, like I said, do drink a lot of water, and I started suffering with constipation and just breaking down my food, and I started drinking this water, and all of a sudden I wasn't constipated anymore. And I was able to digest my food without any problems, and things, you know, started changing. So it's not just water, it's the type of water you drink. And this is where, again, structured water comes in, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Structured water, where it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years ago, when water was not polluted with all the chemicals that it is today. So I just wanted to say that, because it's very important for people to understand that a lot of signs and symptoms that they have, a lot of problems they're having with their organs, with their body, with their hair, with their skin, it's from things that we are taking into our bodies. And now there is a solution where we can wash it out of our bodies. So with that, Patrick, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Yeah, great, thanks. The difference in different types of waters is extraordinary. And, you know, I think that getting kind of a big picture is important here. I did prepare some slides. Are you ready for me to show a couple of those as I kind of address what you just wanted?
Oh, yes.
All right, let me do a little screen share. Let me know how we do. I'm going to click screen share, and then I'm going to, first you'll see you, and then when I switch to the slides, right now, do you see the Wellness Enterprise?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So, you know, one of the things that was startling for me was getting my mind around just how much dehydration is there out there. And there's a laboratory called Fenestra Labs that studied that. They studied 40,000 people over 7 years, and they concluded that 94% of people are dehydrated. Now, I've done a bunch of traveling to conferences and talking at various places around the country about water, and I'll tell you, that number, 94%, is low. The percentage of people that is dehydrated is like 99.5%. And I know, because I watch people who think they're hydrated or who have no knowledge of it whatsoever become hydrated for the first time in their adult life. And when they turn their energy source back on and they know true hydration, that's something altogether different than what they've known before. So I would suggest, Lord Dale, that the number, even though the study says it's 94%, is actually 99.5%. It's like everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, and right. You know, there's some basic stuff working against us. Like when we're conceived, we float around in water for the first approximately 9 months, and we are over 95% water. And then as we age, that number declines. And what's happening is there's different, and these slides are new, so bear with me as I look around here and tell the story. The concept that I want to bring forth is that there's two types of hydration. There's extracellular hydration and there's intracellular hydration. Extracellular hydration happens when you put a beverage into your body and it goes right through you, but it feels like it doesn't stick. Have you ever had that experience before?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's just a beverage. That's not the liquid that nature intended to get into your cells. The cell walls are very teeny tiny. And there's this pathway that lets the water in that was discovered by guy at Johns Hopkins, Peter Agri, in 2003. And the pathway is called the aquaporin channel. And the water gets through this aquaporin channel, but not all beverages get through there. And so we have this really important decline that's happening in our lifetimes naturally, and then we're accelerating it by not providing our bodies with the right water.
Right.
You know, when we talk about hydration being the most important process in your life, are you familiar with the book by Dr. Bat Mangalij, Your Body's Many Cries for Water?
No.
No, you've never seen that one? He was an MD, and he did a lot of studying with water. And his simple premise was that the reason medicine doesn't cure disease is that people aren't sick, they're dehydrated.
Yes, I have heard that, yes.
Right? He was pretty well known. And he made the connection between hydration and rheumatoid arthritis, low back pain, headaches, stress and depression. He basically, high blood pressure, excess weight. He basically connected hydration to everything. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think a lot of people out there these days are dealing with some of the pain that comes from being dehydrated. Like, they just don't know it.
They are.
Right? When I was in my 30s, well, you know, you're a nurse. So how do you see it? Like, what do you see with people being dehydrated?
Well, I've even dealt with it myself. Like I said, I do drink a lot of water, and I can still even be dehydrated. You know, so it's not how much you drink, but it's also the type that you drink. Like you said, it will flow through you.
Yeah.
And when you are sick, your body does need a lot more, especially if you have a temperature, you know, all those other things. You do need more fluids. Antibiotics, you need to drink a lot more fluids. So, but it's not just fluids. Again, it's the right type of fluids. And that's why I am so, you know, pro for this structured water, because it's the right type of water. The chemicals are not in it. We're not consuming chemicals to destroy our bodies, to age our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what you're speaking of, it makes me think of a study that was done about 90 years ago by Dr. Alexis Carrel at the Rockefeller Institute. And his hypothesis was that aging and dehydration are the same thing. Mm-hmm. And that it's the waste that builds up in our cells that kills us, not time. So his experiment was to take chicken heart embryo cells and put them in a petri dish and change or flush the fluid every day. And the expectation at that time was that those cells would live for about 7 years. And they lived nearly 30 years. Mm-hmm. And they only died when he stopped changing the fluid. Mm. And so that's 4 times their usual lifespan. Imagine that. Right. It's pretty extraordinary. So this concept...
The quality also. The quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, when you have joint pain, it's hard to feel great about life. Like, I don't know about for other people, but for me, there's nothing more important than how I feel physically. If I feel well physically, I can get through over any mountain, any hurdle, whatever life throws my way. And so, people may not be aware that the water they're drinking is connected to their energy levels, to their thought patterns, to their circulation, their blood pressure, their sleep, anxiety, different emotions, how their immune system's functioning. I think people have some awareness of the skin and the wrinkles and the hair, but digestion, depression, it's all related to dehydration. And, the reason so many people are drinking, are dehydrated is they're drinking the wrong beverages and they have the wrong habits. So, they get up in the morning and what they want is energy. So they've been marketed to by the Coca-Cola company and Starbucks and these different massive companies with these advertising budgets. They put themselves everywhere in front of us to think that coffee or juice or a sugary beverage is what's going to give them the energy. And it gives them a false energy. It's like being on a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And so they go up and down in these swings instead of getting up in the morning and gathering their energy on a high level and staying there. And of course, when they turn to water, they don't even know that there's a measurement of energy in water. So they drink lifeless water unwittingly, and they don't get the reinforcement from their body. They don't get the message that, hey, this is what you need is water, because it's the wrong kind of water. It's ordinary water. And I call ordinary water that which comes out of a tap or that which comes in a bottle. It's what most people are made of, ordinary water. And what I would compare that to is nature's water, water like in a waterfall. Water coming out of a spring after aging in the earth. And so there are many types of water. And, I made this little slide to help explain this concept we spoke about the extracellular hydration and the intracellular hydration.
Right, but another key word you used just now was lifeless. And the water that we're drinking now is lifeless.
Yes.
So what we're doing is putting life back into water because all the chemicals and pollution has killed the water that is supposed to, keep us healthy.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, that was the word.
There are a number of measurements of structured water that help us to understand the differences. And the one you're speaking to, the lifelessness, that's where we measure negative ions using gas discharge visualization. And what I've seen in various studies is that we can see that when we structure water, which we'll explain to people in a minute, the energy of the water is much higher, and that when people drink it, the energy of the people is much higher. So another one of the properties of this structured water, when you energize the water, is it becomes softer. A lot of people say they feel the difference on the first sip of structured water. And so what happens is that the white cell on the left is depicting dehydration. The water gets to the cell, but it doesn't go in, it passes through the body. And on the right, it's showing when you're drinking structured water, it penetrates the cells. And so, people wonder, well, how come all this tap water, why are you referring to it as ordinary water? And I think we got to just kind of get to the basics here for a second. I always laugh when I feel compelled to watch something on TV because I watch almost no TV. And whenever I get called to watch TV, I'm shown a lesson that I needed to understand to progress with my passion. So I was watching a reality show, a couple of episodes of it. It's called Naked and Afraid. And I was wondering, why am I watching this show? And the message that I got was that in times long gone by, when we would go to settle somewhere, the first thing we would look for is a water source, right? The first thing that happens when you're on an island with two people who have no resources is they begin looking for water. It's the first thing they do.
True.
But what we figured out as man with our supposedly superior technology is pipes, right? They look like this slide that I'm showing you. And what we missed when we blindly let our arrogance lead us into thinking, well, we can just transport water anywhere and it will be the same as any water, is that when water goes through a long straight pipe or through these right angles, for 300 feet, it loses its energy. Mm. That's it. 300 feet. And we know this from measuring with gas discharge visualization. So, we're opening something up here. And, the question I would be asking as a listener is, well, so what do I do? And so I suggest you get informed about why hydration is important. You become your own authority. There are a lot of confusing voices out there. Mine is another voice. Now, I come from the school of following passion and listening to the universe rather than like going to a school and studying something about water. My sharing is built one experience of goosebumps where the universe turned me left or right, or one tear, or one hard experience, or all the different things at a time is how I've accumulated my knowledge. So I'm here presenting a voice that I trust some people will find to be useful, but the most important thing is that we awaken in everyone that you be your own authority, that you know what's true for you. Like, for example, with all the issues that are in the press with lead lately, I've been communicating with some towns and schools and corporations. And one of the messages that the building and grounds crew is being given at one of the school systems is, well, don't worry about the situation. Just run your pipes, turn on the water for 2 minutes in the morning, and let water run through, and then the lead will be fine. Now, I don't know about other people, but when I hear that, it makes my skin crawl. To think that we have lead pipes and to say, well, this arbitrary number of 2 minutes of rinsing is going to make the water safe, forget it. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely not true for me. So whichever authority is saying that's the truth, that's not one that I would pay attention to. So in becoming your own authority, I would suggest there's 3 topics that every person would want to pay attention to: the chemistry of their water, the physics of their water, and the enrichment of their water. So from a chemistry perspective, now this is a harsh slide, and I want to bring it up because I just want people to have a picture just for a second about how many chemicals there are out there. Like, there are about 106 chemicals that the EPA regulates with regard to removing from our water, and there are over 100,000 toxins in our environment. Mm. And so, we have to realize that the powers that be are not setting a water standard that is designed to make us healthy. They support things like let your water run for 2 minutes as a solution for lead. And, the amount of pollution, you think about an oil tanker spill, 1 gallon of gas is enough to pollute 750,000 gallons of water. People in my neighborhood probably spill that out of their lawnmowers in a couple of weeks. 1 gallon of gas. And then, the other types of pollution, like we have all this talk like there's mercury in fish. Mm-hmm. How many people have done a home remodeling project where somebody did deconstruction on their house with either, big machinery or by hand, and included in what was thrown away was a thermostat? Well, every thermostat has mercury in it, and that mercury is volatile. And as soon as that mercury gets released, it ends up heading for the water. And at one point or other, through rain, through air, it gets into the water, gets into the fish, and then we eat it. And we wonder why there's mercury in our fish. And, then we have all these agricultural pesticides, so we're literally coating our food with chemicals and then bringing it into our homes. So the ecosystem and our bodies are inseparable, and the toxins are everywhere. So we have to know what we want to do about it. And in the world of chemistry, It's very simple. If you decide you want to do something about chemistry with your water, yes, I wanted to get that slide off the screen, so forgive me as I'm talking chemistry while looking at the physics slide. What you do is you get a traditional filter, and you don't get a cruddy one like a Brita pitcher or a Zero Water or something like that. You know, you get yourself a good filter. But, you know, I think the topic that you're most enthusiastic about and that's newest to people that I really want to make sure that we teach people about today is the physics of water. When we're talking about the physics of water, Lord Ale, I just want to make some space here for you. Do you want to redirect or comment at all? Or I have a couple more slides, and I want to know if you want me to keep going.
Well, there was a moment on the other slide when you were speaking. I wanted to just say that we are not only killing ourselves, but we're killing Mother Earth. And we have so many organizations always reaching out, trying to say, what can we do? What can we do? And I was just thinking, if each one of us got the system, not only for ourselves, but for somebody that we loved, or for a charity, or for an organization, we could spread it around the world and make the world healthy again, because there are so many. It's not just United States, but especially third world countries that they show over and over and over where they don't have clean water. We could really, really make a huge difference. If it's for a charity, you know, write it off on your income tax. If it's for a holiday or an anniversary or somebody that has everything. No one has everything because they don't have this. You know, make somebody healthy, including yourself, you know, and I really, really want to push that, because I guess that's the nurse in me and the mother in me and the grandmother and everything else. But I really promote health. You only have one life, and you really, really need to take care of it as much as you can. And with this, you can really get a leap on. You really can just surge out there.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. I wanted to come back on and be seen on the screen while we're talking about this. You know, this is near and dear to my heart. I believe the way we cause world peace, all of us regular folk, right? Like, we're all special in our unique way, but, you know, my Rolodex doesn't have any world leaders in it. So, you know, I talk to people like you and me. You know, we're living our lives. And what I think we can do to make the biggest difference is radiate harmony from our own heart. Mm-hmm. Right? If I radiate harmony everywhere around me and touch everyone around me with harmony, with love, that's, I think, my highest service. And what I've chosen to dedicate myself to is exactly what you were talking about, is spreading harmonious water. So we're getting into now the physics of water. So let's make sure people understand what this is. We're talking about the energy of it. And so when Lord Ayala is encouraging you all to, buy a device that changes the physics of water and give it to a friend or a charity or whatnot, she knows about the principle I'm about to share with you, which is, we had an organic strawberry farm, and they had a portion of their land that was producing very low quality strawberries. So they were looking for a solution. Because you measure quality of strawberries with a Brix meter. It's like the sugar content of the water. Mm. And so this low sugar area of the farm was either receiving, they were not sellable, or they were very low price that they could get for it. So they brought in a structured water device, and they watered twice with structured water. That's it, 2 times. That little area of the farm went from being the worst to being the best from 2 waterings, which is extraordinary. But the thing that happened next is even more extraordinary, which is an arc built 1,000 feet out in all directions outside of the circle where the structured water was used. And all of those plants that didn't receive the physical water, but were in the presence of the energetic message, those plants went up and became the highest performing on the farm also. So when you talk about, like, when I walk in a room or when I speak to somebody, my body and my being is structured water. It's harmonious water. And people are influenced by that. It's a concept called entrainment. So we entrain every time we use this water. And the more of us that spread it, the more we will create the world that we want to see. And I don't think it's much of a question that for regular folks, there's a lot of suffering going on in the world. And, you know, this story is told through the media and the channels that everybody watches, that the pain that's out there is normal and it has to be that way. And it's like, you know, we're supposed to have people fighting with one another. We're supposed to have a two-party system with everybody at each other. But when I talk with people like you, Ariel, I see the opportunity for harmony, for sharing, for giving. So as we do that with water, we do it with the very thing that we're all made of. And I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised here in the age of Aquarius as we find out when we raise our vibration with water that it's part of the catalyst that changes our experience of living.
You know, I don't know if this sounds absurd or not, but a thought just came to my head. If we all donated money to send this to Flint, Michigan, to, you know, clear up the water to help people, because at one point they collected cases of water, and they were just cases of bottled water, not structured, not to help them, but to just get them some clean water. But we're talking about something that's going to help them improve on what has been destroyed, you know, with their water. And I was just thinking, if we could just make donations towards getting this to them and putting it in the city, we could just branch out from there.
Yeah. So my heart just wants to say yes to that idea and jump right in and say it's the best idea ever, but I have to qualify it a little bit. So when this is our most popular device. It's a portable device, and water pours in through this end and it comes out here. And what's inside is spheres, and the spheres are covered with sacred geometry. And when the water spins, it spins in both directions at the same time. It's called a double vortex. So that's how it works. So when you take really yucky, nasty colored water with physical stuff in it and you pour it through here, it comes out the other side energetically uplifted, but still carrying the color and the residue from that water. That is not going to carry the day by itself in Flint. So even though it's an important aspect of any long-term solution that we teach people to uplift the energy of water through devices like these, when you have a specific situation with color or particulate matter, then you want to combine chemistry and physics. You want to do both. So if you only gave me a choice of one, I would choose physics. But I would also, when appropriate, when there's a lot of physical stuff in water, I would use chemistry too. So it's a bit of a balancing thing. So let's go back and just... you know, I wanted to share something on this slide here. Oh, I'm going to click my screen share button. Excuse me.
I thought the tool that has the crystals in it would help with the physics.
You're exactly right.
Okay.
Okay, do you see the slide again?
Yes.
All right, so here's what I want you to know. In the 1930s, there was a laboratory where a laboratory assistant took a sealed vial called an ampule and mistakenly dropped it into a beaker. And it contained a highly toxic substance. So, to say that another way, a poisonous substance was put into water, but it was sealed inside of something. The mistake was discovered, the ampule was removed, the water was left, and it was considered no hazard because the ampule was sealed. And then they gave the water to laboratory mice and they all died. And what this proves is that the energy of the toxin, the negative information that's strong enough to kill laboratory mice, is in the water, even though the physical substance was never in the water. Is that making sense to you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying here is that when you have, let's say you're concerned about fluoride. I don't want fluoride in my water, a lot of people tell me. I don't want chlorine in my water. I don't want lead in my water. Arsenic, pharmaceuticals. They tell me these things. If you remove them with chemistry, with the filter, the energy of those toxins is still in the water. Mm-hmm. So given that we know we have 100,000 toxins that are out there, and maybe your filter is removing a couple hundred of them, I would suggest you're never going to make your water safe with a traditional water filter. You're going to reduce color, smell, taste. You're going to make it look better, but the energy of the toxins is still in there. And so that's why we need to deal with the physics of water. And what I'm basically saying is chemistry and physics can work together. If you want to use a traditional filter with a physics device, with a structuring device, then you can absolutely do that. I personally, in my home, have, for the last 4 years plus, only used water structuring devices. And just recently, in the last weeks, I've been testing a filter, a chemistry device. But let me show you. You mentioned a device that would be able to help with the physics. So this is our newest device, and I want you to, when I hold it up, to see that golden spiral that's in the middle, right? You can't tell well on the screen, but the angles of the spiral are like this, so it mimics the Pyramid of Giza. And energy from pyramids, you can take like grains and store them in a silo in today's world, and in a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, they're rotten. And you can find grains in a pyramid from 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, and they're still vibrant and alive. It's a very important energy. It's been studied quite extensively. Every measurement in this device, every element of it, is designed to evoke the energy of the cosmos. There are crystals inside. There's rose quartz inside. There's detoxifiers like shungite and EM ceramics. In all, there are 10 gems inside the device. And it's made of just the finest materials. And they're made in small batches where some of the pieces are machine made, but the assembly and the final construction is done by hand by the inventor who's been making these since 1994. So this is the Javara Maximus. It's a whole house water structuring device that changes the physics of water. And at the Wellness Enterprise, our specialty is the physics of water. That's what we do. It's the part people know the least about, the energy of water, and it's the part I've been the most guided to learn about. So whether you want to know about the most popular handheld one, or the Rolls Royce of water structuring, or this is another whole house device. You put it right on your pipe with these, they're called shark bite fittings. It's really easy to install. We offer all of those, and let me just share my phone number, Lardale, because if anybody's watching and they say, I know you know what you're talking about, but I don't know what to do for my situation, then call me, and I'll help you. My phone number is 857-254-9880. 857-254-9880. And I welcome your calls and the opportunity to serve you. So what else would you like to profile for the audience and have people understand from our time together?
Well, I don't want to overload them because you have given a lot of information to take in. So there is a link they can click on. And like I said, my thing is just helping the world, helping each individual, helping Mother Earth, and just being that instrument that makes a difference. And I do believe that this makes a difference, a huge difference. If we could get it to the White House and all the, senators and dignitaries that can make a difference and say, hey, let's put this in, let's try it, it would be awesome. And this is to make the world a better place to live, because it's a dying world. And that's my goal. That's my goal for the heart, mind, body, and soul. And we'll bring it to an end right now, because we are going to come back and we're going to talk about spirituality. We're going to talk about pets, plants. There's a lot more we will be sharing with you. But again, I don't want to overburden you and give you an overload where everything is so confusing. You just say, oh, this is too much for me. I don't want you to do that. I want you to say, yes, I like this. I want to hear more. So I want you to go to the website and find out more. And Patrick will be there for you, as I will be there for you. So thank you so much. And Patrick, if you want to have some closing words.
Well, I want to thank you for getting the word out. And I want to just wrap it up simply for people. There's the concept of the chemistry of your water, which is traditional filters. There's the concept of the physics of your water, which is structuring device. And there's the concept of enrichment of your water that we didn't even get to today, which is minerals. Wherever you are in that, the Wellness Enterprise is here to serve you. And if you have questions, if there's anything we can do to support you to find your truth on your journey, please contact us, and we'll do our best to give you the information that we've learned about the topic that's of interest to you. Okay? Thanks very much.
Thank you, and God bless.